Hello everyone and welcome on De Papier de Rage channel. I'm Ursula and today I will try to have fun while painting some halos, flower or cauliflower, I don't know the term exact in English, on my paper. To start my painting, I'm placing a little bit of colors on my paper, and while I'm doing that I will explain a little bit what I mean by flower or cauliflower or halo in my painting. I just want to make some watermark on my colors, so when the paper is a little bit drying but not totally dry, you can add a little bit of clean water in your colors and it will make some marks, which some of you are calling cauliflower or flowers. I think I prefer a little bit the word halo for this effect, but maybe there is a better word for it in English, but I don't know. But in order to get this effect, I have to put some colors on my paper first and make it quite wet. So today I'm using French ultramarine, violet cobalt and Aussie red gold for my first layer, because two of these three colors are very granulating, and I think it's quite an important characteristic when you try to make flowers on your paper, to have granulating colors at first. And it's just because granulating colors are very reactive to water, and the granulation activates even more when you add water to your paper. So I figure that if it works that way, it will be even stronger when I try to get the flower, cauliflower, halo effect. Maybe it's a little bit weird to seek this watermark on my paper and to want to have them, because when you are beginning with watercolor you try to avoid them the most you can, but here I want to make them really knowingly so that I can use them in texture when I want. If I know how to get them on my paper, I will also know how to not get them on my paper. So it's a two-way learning process, and I want really to be better at creating them because I just can't make them happen on my paper right now. So I'm working on it. The key to make a watermark happen on your paper is timing. You have to wait for the perfect timing where your paper is enough dry to make watermark, but not totally dry to just get the water on top of it and that's it. So you have to seek after just the time where the paper is still wet, but it's matte. When you look at it with some light coming on the side, it has to be matte, and just the right matte so that you can make the watermark works. It's quite difficult to get the point where it's working or where it's not, and I recommend to test and test and test and test. And right now you can see that I'm starting to get some watermark on my paper, but they are not really strong, and I think it's because of my paper. Today I'm using a rough paper, and I think it's very forgiving for that kind of watermark, so maybe it's not the best paper to use for that exercise. I'm letting this first layer dry and I will talk you through about my supplies. For the brushes I'm using an Escoda Aquario number 18 and a Rosemary&Co serie 39 1/2 inch. And for the colors I'm using French ultramarine, Cobalt violet, Aussie red gold, and a bit later I will be using also Lunar blue and Payne gray. And my paper today is Canson Héritage in rough. When creating this particular effect of cauliflower or halo, the choice of paper is really important. And right now I'm working on rough paper, and as I said before, it's not the best paper for that, just because the water on the paper is spreading uniformly, so the moisture is really the same everywhere, so you can it's really difficult to get the imbalance of water you need to create the cauliflower effect. But on hot press paper, which is really a smooth paper, you will have this effect really easily, and also on cellulose paper. In fact, cellulose paper could be the best choice for creating cauliflower, because the water and the moisture move really differently on cellulose paper, and the paper is drying really quicker than with the cotton paper. So for my second layer, I'm playing right now with Payne Gray and Lunar Blue. And I choose Lunar Blue especially because this is a granulating color and heavily granulating, and as I said before, granulating color will make the cauliflower effect a little bit more intense. And I also wanted to get a darker color on top of my first layer, so that all the hint of color you see underneath will pop a little bit more by contrast. And I can play also with Aussie red gold, which I love, and it's really contrasting against Lunar Blue and Payne Gray. So it gave a little bit of a more dynamic feel if I had such dark color on my second layer. Once my darker colors are on my paper, I just play with all the lighter color I've put on the first layer, so Aussie red gold, Cobalt violet and French ultramarine. I infuse them in the wet darker color so that they are still there, and they will push a little bit all the darker color aside and take the place of the darker color. It's a nice trick to know when you have dark color such as Payne Gray or Lunar Blue. You can still move them if they are still wet and get lighter color in their place by infusing them in the darker color where you want it. And even on this darker color, I'm trying to get again cauliflower on it, but it's still not really strong, just because I think my paper is too rough for this effect, but it's really nice to play with and see how the pigments are moving. And I'm putting quite a lot of water on this wet paper, and it's quite fascinating to see how the water is pushing all the pigment, and I made the little zoom so that you can see even more. It's like the water is reactivating the pigment and push them aside. In fact, the water wants to go where there is a little bit less water, and that's why it push all the pigments that are in the water drop aside, and it makes this aureole effect. That's totally why. It's because water wants to go where there is less water on the paper. I don't think I've totally won this challenge of creating water marks on my paper, but it was really fun to do anyway, and I've learned a lot. I've learned mostly that I didn't choose the right paper for it, but that's okay because that's learning too, and I will need probably a little bit more time and exercise to get this water effect managed and controlled, but that's okay. I have time to do that, so, and I'm happy to play with watercolor anyway. My subject today was really abstract, and I didn't have any idea of what I wanted to do at first. I just play with color and focus myself on creating texture, and I didn't plan anything on the graphic side of it. And I think it's a really good strategy here to get the realistic side out of this painting and just focus on what you are doing and play with the medium. And this video is now ending. Thanks for watching, and I hope you like it. And please check the blog post for more information about it and tell me what you think in the comment. See you soon.